It was January 27, 1832. I was born to my beautiful mother, Frances Lutwidge, and my father, Charles Dodgson, in Cheshire, England, which was where I got my inspiration for the cat. I sort of have a stammer, always have. I moved to North Yorkshire because my father was to become a vicar. I had 10 siblings. Yes, 10, and I was the eldest, but I entertained them with my games and puppets. I was homeschooled for 12 years until I enrolled in a private school. Oh, the days of Richmond school. They were okay, but probably the worst of my life. Sometimes the boys were cruel, but I ignored them and took up an interest in writing to and editing my school's magazine. I also wrote my nonsense stories in my family's magazines, the Rector and Umbrella Mishmash. I joined Christ Church in Oxford, studied there for 4 years, and received a Bachelor of Arts in 1844 and a master's degree in 1857. During this time, I had poems published in the Whitby Gazette. I had been influenced by poets such as Coleridge and Yeats. Math was my specialty all my life. As a teacher, I lectured at Christ Church and even was a tutor at times. I did tend to make fun of my colleagues, so I created games to suppress myself. I am sure the math books I wrote would have never made me known the way the Alice books did. Anyway, I was ordained a deacon in 1861. I was supposed to accept priesthood, but I did not feel worthy of doing such a thing. I asked Dean Little to inform the church of how I would not be able to continue that path. He was kind to me and allowed me to stay at the church where I lived the rest of my life, for the most part, until now, for I'm with my sister. My life was difficult at some points. I suffered from migraines with aura. It caused me to have hallucinations that would remind people of the events in my Alice books. And then I was crushed when my mother died of a stroke in 1851. She was gone. I never thought I would lose her. Subsequently, I wrote verses that portrayed the pain of losing my beloved mother. It was a childhood innocence that I never grew out of. My uncle Skeffington Lutwidge introduced me to photography in 1856. I was quite inspired to learn it. I had my friend Reginald Southey become my mentor and show me everything I needed to know. I enjoyed taking pictures of famous people and animals, but what I enjoyed most was taking pictures of children. I was friends with Dean Little's children and I often photographed them, especially Alice. I had set up a studio even in one of my rooms. After people started controversy over my photographs, I decided to abandon my hobby in 1880. I did this even though I had become one of the top photographers of my time. It was July 4, 1862 when I went on a picnic with Alice Little and her siblings. While on a boat, I made up a story called Alice's Adventures Underground. Alice begged me to write down the story for her, so I wrote it practically word for word. It was 1856 when I published Alice's Adventures in Wonderland. It was not popular at first and only children read it. Adults assumed I was under the influence of drugs when I wrote it because it did not seem normal for a grown man to be thinking the way I did, but it was simply my imagination. Then when Through the Looking Glass was published in 1871, it received great attention. I had sold 15,000 copies in the first year. So my classic tale begins with Alice following a rabbit down a hole and ending up in a magical world. She comes across many obstacles and is able to complete them. She then meets the Queen of Hearts and after wakes up. In the next book, Alice goes through a looking glass. After a long journey, she is crowned queen and then wakes up from her dream. I believe that I will leave a legacy behind of how writers will express themselves, that they should write to their mind's extent and that nonsense should be allowed. Adventure books are not only for children. Adults can be able to take themselves back to the memories of their own childhood. I have lived a nice life. Not many get the opportunities I did, but now I have influenza, so... Take away those pillows. I shall make